speaking about how I use storytelling in my line of business. So we're working with female entrepreneurs, which is, my niche and people that I work with. Storytelling has been such an amazing part of the whole process, because what you find in the process is in telling their stories, in helping them shape their stories, my clients are able to connect with their target market, but also connect in a way that data cannot do, connect in a way that ads cannot do. This goes beyond the layer of just saying, well, this is who I am, this is what I do. It's more of, this is my journey, this is my story.
You will see 100 people, then you will be able to identify an individual that you have spoken to, maybe for a very short space of time. You will know this is the person. It cannot be different. The shape, the color, the tonality, the perfume. There are different combinations that help you to understand that when you put all this information together, you say, this is the person. It's different from every other person that is around. I think this is what storytelling is going to help us to do as we progress into the creative economy. Because now everybody is called upon to be creative.
Only a story can get people to stop and give us a chance. Literally. Someone who decides on habit will always go with big brands. Someone who gives us a chance. The thing that's going to make them stop and give us a chance is the stories that we tell. Alas, no, we must look at those stories and think, are they working? Are they working? You might be wondering whether we're just talking for the sake of it, but we're not. I'll give you some simple ideas about how to measure whether your story is working over here. That way people know that there is some science to this conversation. Now, how do I know if my story is working on social media? How do I know if the story Hannah's written for me, this beautiful story that's engaging people, is working? The simple ways, my friends.
My name is Obehi Ewanfo, and I really love that name very well. I'm originally from Nigeria, and I do storytelling. I help people to leverage the power of storytelling, particularly within the area of business, because we find that to be essential if you want to connect to people, because storytelling help you to move away from just talking about statistics and data and regurgitating the same information that people have already heard too much. So now you connect to them at an emotional level. You sort of connect to them on one-on-one, talking about you, talking about your personality, talking about your experiences. And as you do that, you sort of have one-on-one interaction with the people who are listening to you, who are your audience, who can also be your client in this case. So when you do that, you are not just a number anymore. You're not just a statistics anymore. You become a vital element that become also important for them, because now the story that you are telling help them to be able to know themselves even more. So we believe that storytelling is actually very important for businesses who want to better connect with their audience. So yeah, this is what we do. And I live in the northern part of Italy, in Verona. I don't know if any of you have ever been to Verona, but if you have read the book Romeo and Juliet, that is where I am. Okay, this is the city that we often call the city of light and love. A lot of love is here. So when I came here in 2004, I was trying to understand the story of the African diaspora that I met in this place, the story of the people that I met here that look like me. So like, why are we here? What are be your experiences? So I just take my little recording, my little tape recording. I was moving around, talking to different people, asking them all sort of questions. So why did you come here? What has been your experiences? That have really helped me to learn a lot about myself also. I say that often, that even though I was talking to people, asking them about themselves, I was also talking about myself, because most of the people that I've asked questions them, They are not like me. Some of them have already relocated to Africa. They are no longer here. But I'm here now. So the questions I was asking there now, I'm so expecting. Of course, I've already responded to some of those questions because there have been some university students who are trying to understand, maybe related to what I'm doing. They're asking me the same question, like, where did you come from? What has been your experiences? Perhaps that is life. That when we live in stages, and as we live, we need to be able to document our experiences so we can pass it on also to other people. And that is essentially what storytelling also is. So I was going around collecting this information from different people. At the point, sometime last year actually, I said, let's think about it. All this thing that I'm doing, somebody else can benefit from it, which is storytelling. What is this thing? What is storytelling? What can we learn about it? So that is how I put this book series together, the Storytelling Mastery. Of course, it was quite a volume. I didn't want to put a book that is that heavy. Maybe like about how many? Like about 900 pages of book for somebody to read about storytelling. And of course, I know my audience too. I know my target audience, the African diaspora. People are not so crazy about reading like that. So I break it down into smaller sessions that somebody can just take, and in a few evenings, you will finish one. So that is how the storytelling series came about. And since then, I've met a good friend of mine, Mr. Annie. Of course, he will be talking about himself just now, who he is and what he does. He suggested to me, Obehi, it's time you start doing audio room. Because for a very long time, I've been on LinkedIn. I didn't even know anything about audio room. Okay, I've heard about it. I've been a guest sometime on the Clubhouse, but I've never thought I could maybe host my own on LinkedIn. So since the suggestion of Annie, I'll be here and it'll really be fun all the way. So yeah, that is what we do. We are talking always about storytelling, looking at different angles and how can we use it in our business. And of course, today we are talking about the ROI of business storytelling, which is what is your return on investment if you are doing storytelling? Because one of the things that we come to understand that separate business storytelling from the type of evening storytelling that you do, because everybody is involved in storytelling one way or the other. But what separates a business storyteller is that when you are telling story for the purpose of business or in a business environment, there is always a clear agenda in your mind. You are not just telling story because you want to tell story. You could do that in any other place. If you are in business, you are telling story because you have a clear plan of what you want at the end of the day. That is why when we talk of return on investment, become easy to measure in business storytelling. In any other type of storytelling, it might not be really that easy to measure because there are the KPI that you will use to measure your storytelling in any other situation are not very clear. Of course, I could also speak about that, but I will pass the mic to Annie so that he can also tell you who he is. And from there, we will say one or few things to help you people understand what we are talking about today, which is measuring the ROI or return on investment of business storytelling. Annie, the mic is yours, my friend.
Thank you so much. You're far too humble, my friend. You've done hours of audio rooms, hours. When I saw the names once, when I was looking through, this afternoon, I thought, wow, that's amazing. I think what's in your name is such an important thing for us to understand. And I can't tell you what my name really means. I think that those who understand, that those who know, I suppose our names comes from our background. There's a cultural story to everyone's name. There should be anyway. They used to be, and is there still? Now there's the question: how do you name your kids? But over here, you become the audio room legend, my friend, in my eyes. Not to mention the podcast that you do as well. So well done you. So I think when we learn something, we just try and share that with the world, don't we? Audio rooms are my thing. I love audio rooms. I just did a live stream. It's strange being seen, but I had to go and do my makeup first and my hair. Yeah, but I was ready. And I was there. I said, audio rooms. I think they're an amazing thing. I see my friend Lisa just joined us. Was a freelancer. I'm sure that's not your birth name. If it is, my friend, you're a gifted man. as long as you're a freelancer, that is obviously. If that's not your name, my friend, change your name to your real name. LinkedIn will come and get you sometime, and they just block your account. You know that over here. I know that. So change your name to your real name, please, for your sake. Mr. Bernard, welcome. So our friend Iris, glad you're here. Brittany, welcome to DJ Reese. And yes, he's a DJ, and it works for him. So there you go. So Andrew, I see you too. So I'm glad you're all here. More will join us. So we had a slight hiccup, but no, as long as you're here, we're happy. So we'll have a party with one person really, but there's 7 of you here, so that makes me even happier. So what do I do? I think the simplest way to tell you what I do is by telling you a story. How's that? I think it's storytelling is a great way to convey information. That's why we do it. When we all do it, it's whether you do it strategically, as over here mentioned, with intention for your business, or whether you do it almost accidentally. Welcome, Mercy. So insurance company owner in Kenya. So a true legend, someone who's that brave. I have all day for. And I love people who are truly brave and want to achieve greatness. And she's one of those people who is really working hard to change the world, because we all can. Anyway, so let me come back to the storytelling thing. So yesterday, I had a meeting with a young man in Nigeria. So it was referred by one of my audio room co-hosts. So basically, he's come along and he wants to write a book. I'm like, really? You want to write a book? Okay. What do you want to write about? He wants to write a book about his mother's life story. His mother's 70, and obviously they think she's on her way out. So but the lady's gone through a life of hardship and success. Oh, David, welcome. To David first, David first in the audience. He's one of my longest serving clients. Me and David go back, what, to 2015, 2016, David? No, 2018 to be out, 2018. Now, David runs a skincare company I'm going to bring to everyone on LinkedIn.
That is lovely. And of course, he could come to the stage also to share with us. We love the story.
No, true. He has a story to tell for sure. So now we're going to do audio rooms, but I think this is the first look at audio rooms. So I'm glad you're here, David. He's got a lovely wife who they said they will be known before time passes all of us. They got something that every lady in this room needs, and every man needs as well. If you're going bored as well, David is one you want to talk to for sure. They've got brands and products that definitely work, and so that's why I worked with them for so long. But our time will come, David. Anyway, this is an audio room, right? Literally, we invite people around the world. They will come. We talk to them. We hear your thoughts as well. Like Obi said, if you want to come on stage and talk, just raise your hand. There's buttons at the bottom of your screen. There's a react button. There's a raise hand button. You raise a hand, we'll bring you up, and you get to say what you want to say. Same goes for all of you. I see my superstar friend Camille is here as well. Now, she's a wellness legend in our world. Now, literally, Camille is passionate about changing the world and making everyone a bit healthier, a bit fitter. That way they can actually run their business. So that's her thing. So great to have you all here. Saif, I see you too, my friend. Glad you're here. All right, and now I talk about the young man that I spoke to yesterday. So he wants to write a book about his mother's life story. I think the lady's 70 now. She raised 5 kids by herself as a single mother. She was cast out of her village for being the wrong religion. You're like, what? And literally, this woman is she's won. So they want to tell her story. So that's where I come into it. I'm going to help them to write the story. How do we write the story? So I think that it's a mixture of trying to get the right information from different places. Trying to find the pieces that make up this woman's life. It was so much easier if they had worked intentionally from time, right? Where they make notes. Some of the journaling is a great way to start writing your story. In business, I think it's the same thing in business, my friends. We all wait till one day we think, oh, I'm going to start telling stories. Whereas every day in our business is a story in itself, right? Every day is a journey. Every day things happen. Things that we learn from, things that we use our genius to resolve. See, the thing about life is that everything goes so quick. Don't write it down. it passes you by. Tomorrow's story is different to today's story. And we're so quick at forgetting today's story tomorrow because we hold on to what's gone wrong. The good things in life we just let fly by. That's a tragedy of humanity. It really is. So I love talking to storytelling because I think it's a great way to talk to people, to engage them, to really make them see your point of view, to see why you're different to everyone else. Like over here mentioned it briefly. We could just reel off features and benefits of our products or services, but nothing tells people what you really like and what you really do more than someone you've helped already, and they're saying, "Here's how it worked. Here's their experience. Here's what happened. Here's what I did. Here's what they did." And then that's why the storytelling has drama over here. As we keep telling people, that there's a way to tell stories, right? You have to construct stories. You have to construct stories in a way that's engaging. Today's question really, I think, hits at the nub of storytelling. Is it working? Is it working or not? How do you know if it's working? There's simple strategies we're going to share with you, my friends. If you want to come and share how you judge your storytelling in your business, please do raise your hand, come and share with us. Otherwise, let's start the conversation properly over here, and then let's see where we get to before someone comes to share with us.
Thank you so much for that. That's the point. And of course, we believe that we are, me and Annie, we're not the only one that uses storytelling. Now, this is one thing I like about LinkedIn, is that when you set up the audio room, people come on their own. The people that come are already fitted, actually, because they are interested in that specific topic that you want to talk about, which means that each and every one of you are interested in either sharing about storytelling or want to learn about storytelling. But this is my advice. You are not just going to be a spectator. You are supposed to be, you need to choose what you even want to learn if you are sort of new to storytelling. Today, for example, I was exchanging a kind of a chat with somebody who was telling me that because I sent her a free copy of the first chapter of the book series to read, and she was saying, well, I have no idea. I don't have any understanding of storytelling, but I'm going to read it without pleasure. Then, of course, I will let you know what I think, because that is what I usually ask people. After I have sent you the free chapter, after you have read it, let me know. Because even me, I don't know everything. I believe and I understand that I don't know everything. So I rely on the feedback of people to know what I might need to correct, even in this book that is already written. So what I'm essentially saying is that all of us need to hone the idea of storytelling, and we need to take it. We need to really be on the move all the time, talking about it, if we understand it, or asking questions on how to understand it better if we need that. Because if we don't, like Annie was saying before, what you don't ask, there is no way you are going to know, no? Because me and Annie, of course, we are here not talking about storytelling, but we have a kind of an assumption of what you want to know, of what is important to you. But this is 2024 now. I wanted to say 2023 because now we are actually already transcended. This is 2024 now. It is your time to say, this is what I want to understand. For example, what are actually the KPI of measuring a business storytelling? And what even make a difference? What is different? What separates a business storytelling from other type of storytelling? Because if you have some challenges in those areas and you point those out, either in your question or in your reflection, then you will have answer to them. But what if you don't say anything about it? Then you go home with your assumption. Now, why I usually say, of course, I'm saying all this one to tell you that any of you is qualified as a candidate to come up and say, okay, this is how I'm using storytelling. This is what I want to understand about storytelling. I know this, I don't know that. Because it is your time. You are here nobody forced you to be here. You are here because you want to learn. You are here because you want to dominate the conversation. You cannot just be a spectator. Listen, you are good enough the way you are. I want to repeat that again. You are good enough the way you are. Nobody is better than you. This is how you know that nobody is like you, because you are genuine, you are unique, you are who you are, original. So whatever you might consider as, okay, maybe I'm not going to be able to do this like this or do that, forget it. They're not important. Those are just excuses. So you can pick up the microphone and say your own point of view of the conversation, because that is absolutely fundamental. So I encourage each and every one of you who is maybe already using storytelling in your business. I want to help other people, because it's not all the time we want to take. Sometimes we also want to give, because this is a kind of a community setup in that sometimes you already know, you already learn about what we are talking about. But why don't you give also to other people who want to learn? You can just raise your hand and say, okay, this is how I do it. That is opportunity for people to learn from you. But if you don't know how, you could just come up also and say, I would have loved to do this, but I don't know how. In any way, you are going to go home with a lot of advantages, which are there. That one way, you don't know it, now you know it going home. The other way, you know it, you share with people, you're also going to go home happier, because now you have enriched the life of other people. So it is important that we are partaker in the conversation. So like I was saying before, business storytelling is different from other type of storytelling in that you already have your KPI already set up, in that you have a clear objective. Now, let me tell you one thing. In 2015, I wrote a book that I titled Amen the Stream Water. Now, that book is accepted as a book to be read at the University of Verona, the city where I am, because I presented it there at the university and also in other places. Now, that book, by then, 2015, I have no idea that I was going to be talking about storytelling. But of course, like I often say, all of us are storytellers from birth. We have been talking about storytelling for a very long time. So that book actually began in storytelling, in that the book began with, in the evening, all the children are gathered, an old man is telling their story. Now, this is what we have always been used to. In the evening, we listen to story. But there is something peculiar also about that book. I was saying at the point. Now, if you have been telling story to children every day for like, I say, 1 year, at the end of 1 year, all the story should be over. What are you talking about? Are you, even though you are talking to them about what is in the encyclopedia, you would have finished by then. But we see now that Okobuje, which is the real storyteller in the story, was still having something to tell these children every evening. Every night for these children, all of them gather around the tree, Ovu. That is what I call the tree. A big tree where all they are listening to this storytelling. It was fascinating because storytelling is not just throwing out data there. You are connecting. People are interested in sharing that moment, that time together, in learning from each other. That in itself is a different type of storytelling. It is highly vital in its own right. But the one we are talking about today, which is business storytelling, is slightly different from that. In that when you tell this type of story, you have a clear agenda. Okay, let me say a clear objective. You need to know why you are telling this story. You need to know who is your audience. Now, you see, the story I was referring to in my village, because as a child, I participated in those type of story that as little children, we go to meet the elder who will tell us story and we will feel so satisfied. That type of story, the elder doesn't need to know me personally before he can tell me that story. He doesn't need to know my need as a person before he can, because we are just a group of children. We don't need to have any special desire to participate in those kind of storytelling. But in business storytelling, you need to know who are the audience, who are these people, what do they want, what do they want to learn from me, what kind of message do I need to pass to them. Until this is clear, you cannot measure whether your storytelling is successful or not. Because Whether it is successful or not is going to be based on the agenda that you have set for yourself, the objective that you want to achieve at the end of the day in your storytelling. So this is one of the key difference in business storytelling from the, I don't want to call it cock and bull storytelling, but the other type of storytelling where you might not necessarily need to have a very clear-cut objective. So I think that is important. But now again, I want to throw it back to us again in the audience. Maybe you are using storytelling in your business. Maybe this is not how you use it. Can you share with us? How do you use it so that other people can also learn from you? I, Obehi, do not know everything. I can learn from you. You can learn from me. All right, so I pass the mic to, I don't know why, Anna, you were here at a point, then you disappeared, then you reappear again. Anyway, we are happy that you are here. That is a good thing. Please, could you tell the audience who you are? They really want to learn from you. Please go ahead, Anna.
Thank you so much, Obehi. And yes, I've been having service issues, but I hope it's sorted now and you can hear me clearly. But I want to say Happy New Year to everyone. Happy New Year, Annie. I don't think we've seen this year. Hi, Obehi, officially.
Happy New Year, dear. If I forgot to even say that before.
Okay, don't worry. I've done it on your behalf. So Happy New Year, everyone. I hope you're having an amazing year so far. So my name is Hannah Idachaba, and I'm a brand storyteller / personal brand strategist. I wear many hats. But what unites and links all of them together is storytelling. And that's why anywhere there's a room for storytelling, send me a message. I will be there because I have seen the benefit of what it means to, tell stories, but not just to tell stories, to tell good stories that impact. And I love the question that you posed, Obehi, about how do you use storytelling? And that's where I'm going to start today's conversation with. Speaking about how I use storytelling in my line of business. So we're working with female entrepreneurs, which is, my niche and people that I work with. Storytelling has been such an amazing part of the whole process because what you find in the process is in telling their stories, in helping them shape their stories, my clients are able to connect with their target market, but also connect in a way that data cannot do, connect in a way that ads cannot do. This goes beyond the layer of just saying, well, this is who I am, this is what I do. It's more of, this is my journey, this is my story. And I have seen firsthand how much people love stories, not just because they want to know a bit about you, which is a big part of branding, and what I do, but also it gives them a leeway into who they are. Because everyone I have found on LinkedIn is very much focused on what I do, but storytelling takes it, a step further. And it highlights, who they really are behind all these amazing things that they do, all the credentials, all the certifications that they have. Storytelling brings their true personality to the front. And, in doing that, people are able to connect with them. And so that's why I say to you that storytelling is such a good way to show people who you are. And it really highlights the authenticity that we talk about a lot. In being authentic, in being yourself, you're able to communicate who you are and people are able to flow with that. And the beautiful thing about storytelling, especially for business, is in doing storytelling for business, you're able to connect with the people who your story connects with. So it does the filtration for you. Instead of, throwing a dice and hoping that it lands somewhere, whoever resonates with your story, you already know these are the people I need to be speaking to. And that's the beauty of storytelling. So when you see us up here speaking about business storytelling, we have seen firsthand how impactful it is and how it's able to connect really quickly compared to your normal content that you see. And that's why storytelling content remains, for me, one of the best ways to effectively reach people on LinkedIn across social media platforms. I've seen it happen on Twitter. I've seen it happen on Instagram. It's a real thing. People love stories because it demasks you. You are not the person. Sometimes people have like a perception about you, and what your storytelling does is to say to them, well, this is who I am, unfiltered. This is my journey. And just like Obehi was saying, there's a process to it. You cannot just put out stories because everyone is putting out stories. That's okay. But when you're doing business storytelling, it's different. You need to first of all realize who you're speaking to. So in writing your stories, you're speaking to your target market in ways that they understand. And I speak about having the language, the lingo that you use, and bringing the language down so that it's understandable. All of these little things tie into what makes business storytelling, what it is, and what makes it very impactful, the way that it is, and the way that we can have a room about it. Because if it wasn't impactful, believe me, you wouldn't be here listening. And I'm sure that so many of you listening to us here today, you are interested in realizing, how to navigate business storytelling. But I would like to really touch on measuring the ROI, which is a big part of today's conversation. Major ways to do that, first of all, would be, for me personally, leads. And then we can go to sales conversion and how many people, click on the link, if there's a link, and all of that. But one thing that I feel like people don't speak about in regards to ROI is just the impact that you make on people's lives. I don't think you can measure that. I don't think anybody can measure the impacts that you have on people's lives. And I think that, to me, that's the most important part of business storytelling. And just depending on how you use the impact that you have, you can in turn that into profit. You can turn the trust that people have, the impact that you have on people's lives, into further profits. There's so much layers to business storytelling. There's so much layers that I would love to get into. But one thing that I would say is always strive for authenticity, always strive for relatability. These are words that are often used a lot, but they're so important to the process. Always strive to be yourself, because there's nobody else like you in the world. Shut out the noise and focus on your business. Focus on the unique parts of your business, because every business is different in its rights. Don't look at what the next person is saying or doing. Focus on how you're saying what you're saying, and focus on who you are speaking to. Because I would say to you, if you are focusing on other people, there's the tendency to want to communicate the way that they do, and then you lose authenticity in doing that. So please prioritize authenticity in business storytelling. Let your message be clear. Let it be straight to the point, but also storytelling is impactful. And to anyone interested in starting out, you have 3 faces up here that you can contact: Behi, myself, Annie. And listen, the way that we use storytelling might be different. For Obey, I know that he's an author. For Annie, he's very into marketing. I'm into branding, but storytelling unites us. And that's the beauty of storytelling. So reach us out, speak to any of us, and we'll be sure to respond. But I'm really, really, really itching to hear what everyone else has to say. And listen, you are in the right room. I hope you leave a value. And I wish you all a Happy New Year once again. I'm going to be hanging around. I wanted to say bye, but I'm going to be here.
Yeah, going nowhere. we are in together here, sister. Thank you. That is Hannah Idachaba, and she's the angel for female entrepreneur. Of course, if you are a female entrepreneur and you need help, call her. She will help you to straighten up your brand. That is really very interesting. You see, there are a lot of value in what you said. I learned a lot of things. In fact, that is the beauty of all here talking together. I believe that if I am alone talking, even if I were talking about storytelling, I will look like a pond. There is a difference between a pond and a stream. A pond is a water that doesn't flow out and water doesn't flow into two. And this can very easily describe also society. When a society becomes a pond, it's destined to die. because what makes a society live is the distraction, the things that are coming in. When you see the fish jumping in and it sort of disturb the equilibrium, then again and it's settled, then that is what is happening. Because as we are talking now, 3 people here in the room, we are getting fresh information coming in. Those fresh information are disturbing a little bit of the equilibrium and resetting it again, and everything is becoming beautiful. That is the way life is supposed to be, so that we can learn from each other. I can lend you my eyes to see what you cannot see, and you can also lend me your eyes to see what you cannot see. They are so beautiful. Thank you so much for that, for your sharing, Hannah, and it's really, really great. You see, one thing I was reflecting on actually lately is that I think this is probably the best time to be talking about this argument. I'm talking about storytelling. In that now, with the use of AI, content creation have become something else. The ability to create content have become easy for many people. I don't know if I've said it before, but what have not become a commonplace is story, because story cannot be duplicated actually. If you duplicate my story, you will become a fake me. There is no other person that is me, Obehi Ewanfo, in the entire universe. It will take millions of years of experiment to create another copy exactly me. And I don't know if nature want to do that experiment, so that each and every one of us is a unicorn. You are special. You are who you are, your face. You see, the police will never get confused if they catch maybe 100 people and they take down their fingerprint. Every one of them is unique. Your faces are, sometimes I imagine, how do we even as human beings manage to get a clear picture of the people? Maybe, for example, you enter into a group now, you see somebody, you talk to the person. Now, maybe in another group, you will see 100 people. Then you will be able to identify an individual that you have spoken to, maybe for a very short space of time. You will know this is the person. It cannot be different. The shape, the color, the tonality, the perfume. There are different combinations that help you to understand that when you put all this information together, you say, this is the person. It's different from every other person that is around. I think this is what storytelling is going to help us to do as we progress into the creative economy. Because now everybody is called upon to be creative. Use the information around you. Actually, transform the information you have around you, but put yourself in it. If you don't put yourself in it, it becomes generic. Now, that is something Enagia was saying one time. Enagia was saying, okay, Enagia now is late, is a famous American motivational speaker, mostly in the topic of self-improvement. So he was saying, of course, referencing also another person, that there was this French cook, then there was this American tourist who went to France, I think to Paris, to eat. After they have eaten, they loved the food so much that the American went to tell the cook, I would like to cook like you. Then the cook luckily told him, well, I have written a book. This is the manual, okay? You call it the recipe for the food. Now, the guy took the recipe and he returned to the US. Of course, he will read it and he will cook the food. Then on another occasion, they returned back to Paris, to France. Now, he went to meet the cook again and he told the cook, I have followed every step that you laid down in your book. I have cooked the food, but it was still different from your food, the type of food that you cook. Now, the cook told him there is something that was missing. You didn't put yourself in it. Now, what do we need to learn from that? What we need to learn from that, like I was saying before, is that AI, okay, let me not use AI for those of you that might not be using AI, let's say technology, even though AI is actually a form of technology. And we have been using technology from the ancient, no? So this new technology that we have today have made it much easier for us to gather information and remix this information so that they can become in different format. But until we put ourselves in this new information, we are going to get the information we are going to create are going to get missing. They will lose identity. They will become very generic. So it is very important that now in our history that we learn the power of story, how to put our experiences into what we do so that we can have an identity. So that in a midst of people, hundreds or 200 people, somebody can look at our faces and say, this is who he is. I know him. The person know you because he know your story. Your story separates you. It make way for you. It create room for you, and it help you to connect to the people that you are connecting with. There is nobody that can duplicate that. No, that is because there are no two people that are exactly the same in the entire universe. But the question is, are we ready to take our story? Are we ready to hone our voice so that when somebody hears us, he can say, this is who we are? Now, having said that, there is something I was tickling with before. Now, I've tried to pull a question to Annie. Is that when we tell business story, we need to have a clear objective. I don't know if anyone to say something in that line. Now, there is a person who is probably new to storytelling. He probably doesn't get that joke. Annie, what would that mean? Like, how would you get a clarity to somebody who want to tell business story, but not a cockaboo story? This is a different type of story that he or she can measure. What is your take on that?
I hear you loud and clear. I think there's a lot more to storytelling than it seems. There is a place for the fun stories for sure. There's a place for the personal stories, for entertainment. Some of these rooms are what I call edutainment, educate and entertain at the same time. But many of in reality, these rooms have a reason. There's a reason we do these rooms. Some rooms truly have no focus at all. All my rooms are business focused. That means we're here to tell the stories of brands, of businesses, of people who help people. That's what we're here for, right? All of us. And unless you help people in business, then you only get nowhere. So literally, I think it's trying to make sure your stories are aligned to your purpose. Now, as a business, the one thing we need, all of us, is sales. That's not to say every story must be about getting sales. After all, it's a process to get sales. It's a process to get someone to believe in you. Know what you do, know how you help. I guess probably more importantly, my friends, stories work when people feel an emotion towards you. There's something I'm sure you've seen it in the press or different places. Any coverage in the press is good coverage, even if it's bad news, right? In truth, in business, when it's great news about you, it helps you a lot more. Because people think something, whether they're right or wrong, it doesn't matter. That's long as they think something. I guess there's a simple way of maybe looking at how stories work for all of us. If I look in the room now, apart from David, who's been in business 25 years, all of us are quite young in business. I know I won't mention names of people who I know I've been in business for a long time. I've been in business for 10 years, doing what I'm doing now. I'm still young, if you ask me, right? So many of us have probably been in business less than that. When people go out to buy what we sell, they have two choices almost. They can either go with a big brand or they can choose us. Would you be surprised if I told you that people like to be lazy? People are just lazy. They love to make the easy choice. Oh, I'm thirsty. What am I going to drink? Oh, I'll drink a can of Coke because I know Coke. I know what it tastes like. They're a big brand. No risk. No question. No doubt. Do I like Coke? I don't, probably not. But literally, I can trust them, right? For them to choose us, my friends, they're making all sorts of choices. They're making a choice of, do I trust them? Do I like what they do? Can they help me achieve my goal? Is the price right? I could carry on. I'm sure you get the idea, right? Only a story can get people to stop and give us a chance. Literally. Someone who decides on habit will always go with big brands. Someone who gives us a chance. The thing that's going to make them stop and give us a chance is the stories that we tell. Alas, no, we must look at those stories and think, are they working? Are they working? You might be wondering whether we're just talking for the sake of it, but we're not. I'll give you some simple ideas about how to measure whether your story is working over here. That way people know that there is some science to this conversation. Now, how do I know if my story is working on social media? How do I know if the story that Hannah's written for me, this beautiful story that's engaging people, is working? There's simple ways, my friends. If someone likes your story, they probably they'll probably give you a like, right? A heart or whatever, an emoji of sorts. If they really like it, they might even give you a comment. If they go beyond that, they might share the story with one of their connections. So you can measure your stories by reactions, engagement to your posts. On some stories, which is the ones that are the bane of my life on social media, TLDR is what I call them. The story never ends. It goes on and on and on. I don't mind reading stories, but I don't want make your point, entertain me, make your point, let me move on. Some stories go on forever. Too long, don't read, TLDR, right? On those ones, you can judge whether people like them based on how far they scroll. If people like them, they might scroll to the right all the way down to the end. Someone who scrolls halfway, you can make a judgment and say, okay, maybe they liked bits of it. Maybe they only before they got bored. Maybe they only liked half the story, literally. The further someone scrolls, the more you can say, okay, they engage with that. They really liked. They go all the way to the end. You can convince yourself that they really liked your story. I will say there's always this. Hannah mentioned it, and Oba has mentioned it too. Conversions is everything in business, right? The engagement metrics I just mentioned, the scrolling, the likes, the shares, the comments, all of that means nothing if someone does not get their wallet out to buy. All of that means nothing. Someone doesn't call you to make an inquiry. Maybe your objective is not for them to buy directly. Maybe your objective is for them to connect with you. Like that. That's now for three of us on stage today. That's our objective. Of course, we hope you go to our website and buy in huge numbers, but now the chance of that happening because of what we sell, engaging with you on a personal level, that's our objective. You must set the same objective for your stories. What do you want people to do after they listen to you? What's your call to action? How are you going to measure that? There is another whole level of measurement, which I think we'll come to. Let me let Obi here and Hannah share some more, and then we'll come to the measuring the biology of storytelling. There is a biology behind this, by the way, my friends. Hold on, before I give it to you, let me mention a few of my friends. Gloria, so Eloho, how you doing? Eloho is a branding expert. Eloho, where's our room on Friday? Yes, Eloho, I'm looking at you. We need title and content, Eloho. Andrew says Shivanka, an amazing artist. Glad you're here. So Titania, he makes amazing multimedia books. Now we're coming towards you, Titania, and I hear you. There's a need for you what you do. We're just debating some practicalities around that. So Coach Crystal is here as well. She's another amazing author. So Joseph, I see you. Welcome. Angie, Iris, my sister Kibitwe, glad you're here. I typed somewhere, I'm missing you, but you're here now, so I'm all right again. So Elizabeth, and the finest legend from Kenya, I'm glad you're here. Rito, I see you too. Welcome, all of you. So, Obahid, I told you it wouldn't be that bad, doing the second time round. And turned out
No, people didn't know what happened before. Anyway, I see Izu is here. Izu, you probably would have been confused by what happened today. Anyway, I will explain. We set up the room actually in our business page. It's the first time I was setting it up there. So there was no button to start the room. I said, what has happened? They will realize that I probably have set it up wrongly. So we have to reset the room again. That is why the people who wanted to follow us there, they're not able to come here. Anyway, that is one of those things that happens sometimes. We get it wrong and we look for a way to get it right. So thanks to all of you that still managed to come here, because the intention is good. And sometimes we get the process wrong. Izu, you have not spoken, so I will pass the mic to you shortly. But I just want to say something really very important, that those KPI that Annie mentioned, they are really going to be very fundamental, because if we don't set that in the beginning of the story, it might be difficult for us to, it's like setting a goal for yourself, no? Because how do you know you get what you are aiming at? It's because you know what you are aiming at. That is actually the tricky part about the goal. A couple of years ago, I set for myself a goal to write 500 articles. Of course, I was not going to write the article all by myself, no? I was paying people to write some of the article for me, but I was writing the rest for myself. But the target was that at the end of this year, I want to publish 500 articles. And of course I did. Now, this is the tricky part of it. What if I never set the target? Perhaps I would never have been able to do that. Or maybe I would have been able to do that or do it over or not. But how would I be able to measure it if I don't have a benchmark, if I don't have a set goal for myself, which I'm using to measure whether I am nearby, I've reached it, or something like that. So I think that is where it is going to be very vital for us in our business storytelling, in that when you are telling this story, you have your KPI that is going to help you to measure it. You know what you are aiming at essentially, is that you are not just telling the story because you want to occupy time. Or maybe that is what you want to do, but of course, we don't recommend that for business storytelling, because you are in business because you are in service. You are going to be considering things like maybe you want to get more people signing into your program. You want to get, it might not necessarily be just the comment. No, that can be part of it, but maybe like Annie was saying, you want somebody to call you at the end of the day, I want to do business with you. That is a very good KPI, because at the end of the day, you are remaining in business because your employer, who are your client, are patronizing you. They are buying your product and services. Otherwise, you are folding up, because if you are getting money from somewhere to finance your business on a perpetual basis, then you must be cheating yourself somehow. So it is important that those KPI are clear for you of why are you telling this story? Why this story? Why this particular story? Because you're going to have something to measure it against at the end of the day. So that was very important for me, and I appreciate that. All right, Izu, the conversation is that measuring the return on investment on your business storytelling. Please tell the people who you are and your take on the conversation. Thank you so much, brother.
I can hear you, my friend. Thank you so much for your question. And I would like to say Happy New Year to all the beautiful people in the room today. Very good to see you all today. God is good. Shout outs to you, to Mr. Annie, Hannah, Mr. Obehi, for being an outstanding person. I see my big six in the VIP lounge. Eloho. And I see you, Gloria. I see all the beautiful people here. God bless you all. I love you all. Now, this is what I would have to say concerning the topic. Before I say something about the topic, my name is Izu Samuel. I am an investigative journalist with the Al Jazeera, and 80% of my job is about telling stories, using stories to draft initiatives and to build a connection that connects the readers, the viewers, to the reality of the narrative. So most of the stories you've heard on Al Jazeera, especially from the west to the eastern parts of Africa, They were all done by myself and my team. So with that said, um, what I would say concerning the ROI of your business story is that the first thing you must pay attention to about the return on investment of your business story is that you must be authentic about the story you want to share. Um, Telling fake stories has nothing to do with growth. It might cause people to move. People might even patronize you along the line. But if you are ever going to do something very fantastic and the future in mind and view, talking about posterity, talking about business posterity, when Coca Cola started, Coca Cola sold 25 bottles. Today, Coca Cola is across nations, across the world. Everybody is drinking Coca Cola. They had a story from the beginning, and that story was simply authentic. When you talk about Al Jazeera, the same thing. When you talk about the biggest of the media platforms and businesses that have ever existed, before they start the business, there must be a story that drives the initiative of the business. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, that storytelling is the oldest brand across the world. The BCs and the MFVCs, storytelling stands out to be the oldest brand in the world. And you can't talk about anything without a story. Everything you want to talk about today has a story attached to it. And your business is really a business when the business addresses the challenges of the people. And how would you attract people to be able to allow your business to solve their problems in a noisy world where people are talking, where people are saying a lot of things at the same time? Is to use the narrative of what is called experience, not about talking about things, but you sharing the experience about the business and what the business entails. So, my point this evening, ladies and gentlemen, is very simple. Whilst you're focusing on the business story and whilst you're considering the return on investment, I want you to focus on the first KPI for that return on investment to make a meaning to yourself and many other people who might be connected to your business. Let it be to foster um, real stories, authentic stories. If you're ever going to tell a story about your business, ladies and gentlemen, please tell authentic stories. Don't tell fake stories. Fake stories reduces the effectiveness and the potency of what your business is about. So, whilst we are encouraging people to tell stories, there is the authentic need for us to foster authentic stories because authentic stories become even more powerful as you keep telling the story. Authentic stories, at first, they may sound not very connecting, but along the line, authentic stories would always lead because nothing beats authenticity. So I just encourage you people, let that be a considerable KPI that you might want to employ going forward in the right sense of what we're talking about here today. Obviously, we have the best of minds on the stage today, so I'm not going to be sharing a lot of KPIs, but I have over 17 KPIs around storytelling and when it comes to business. But I just want to share one here today. And this is the first audio room I'm going to be speaking in 2024. And you know what this means? It means a lot. And I just don't know. I'm just feeling like a woman who has been wooed. But let's just keep it on the beat to ensure that anytime you're going to talk about any story about your business, ensure that it is about authentic story. My name is Izu Samuel. I love you all. I'm here on this audio event and I'm also enjoying my vegetable soup. So I invite you all to come and eat vegetable soup with me. All right, over to you, my friend.
Izu, that is beautiful. Now you're getting me hungry. Anyway, I'm going to pass that to my wife. Thank you so much, my brother. I love that. We need to add those little elements that make us human. And yes, that is actually the beauty of it. I love that. I love that. In fact, it reminds me, actually, yesterday I was watching a video when somebody was saying something very critically important, of course, in line with what Izud is saying here, then of course I'll pass the message to Hannah. In that if you want to if you want to be rich, you need to find a problem to solve. What if we could put that one in the story that we are telling? In that we are not just there, just blah blah blah, throwing out data there and all of that. In that the people paying attention to the story that we are telling, they can see the problem that we are solving. What if these people are having these particular challenges and we are solving this problem for them? Would that increase the chance of us able to get a good return of the investment of the time that we are putting to talk to them? What would that mean to us? I'm trying to sort of pass that to Hannah. In that, what if maybe the story that we are telling helped us exemplify the problem that we are solving in the world? Would that make any sense? Would that make any sense in terms of how we're able to get a return on investment?
Thanks for the question. The reason why stories like that are so important is, aside the fact that it's a story, meaning that it already has emotional connection, which is very common amongst stories. You're taking it up a notch by using a scenario, targeted at your target market, your ideal customer. You're saying, well, this is how and what happened, and this is how I can sort whatever problem that you have out. And so the reason why stories like that are so impactful is that we have almost like an avalanche of information being put out on a regular basis. And if you check it out on LinkedIn as a case study, you're going to see that most of those content have similar prototypes, right? They have similar formats. So it's, this is who I am, this is what I do. But then when you're using a story to say that you are being different, you are already garnering attention. And I remember Annie touched on that quite earlier. You are immediately gathering attention. And that's one way really to stand out, because when everybody else is doing the same thing and having the same format and you're saying a story, immediately you have the attention of people. And then in reading the story, you're putting out how, the ways to be impactful and the ways that you can essentially reach people and how you can help out. Stories like that do so well because, like I said before, you are standing out, you are being authentic, and you are drawing and appealing to the emotional side of your readers or your viewers or your listeners if it's a podcast. Bottom line is, stories are successful because they are different, especially in the content world of today. Now people are going into storytelling as a form of content, but people cannot have enough of storytelling content. I feel like the more you see them, the more you want to read them. I know I'm going to stop and scroll each time I see a story. And that's why it's so important to talk about the how to, like, how do you tell those stories? A lot of people listening today might think, okay, I can tell a story and that's okay. However, the way that you say that story, that would move from just attention to keeping that attention that you have, because I feel like it's easy to get that attention. It's easy to say, well, oh, people can stop and scroll, but to make people take that extra step to go to that link, to go to that website, that's another technique entirely. And that's why it's so important to speak to the people who understand how these things work and understand how business storytelling can be effective, because they have worked with stories so much. And like I said before, the four of us here on stage are the people that you should be going to, because not just because we, organize this event, wink, wink, but because we're really good at what we do. And because we work with stories on a regular basis. I cannot tell you how many stories I have crafted this past week for clients that be going out today as a ghostwriter. So it's so important really to know how to craft those stories, but also to not just get attention, but keep the attention of your ideal customer. Listen, I also have the tendency to go in and dabble a lot into stuff, but my DMs are open for more information. If you ever need to clarify stuff, ask more questions, feel free to pop me a message. But I really, really love that question, and I hope I've done justice to that, Obi.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. I really do. All right. Now I'm thinking, what I'm thinking about is a feedback. Because now we're talking of being able to get a good return on investment on the story that we are telling in business. Okay, we are talking about business storytelling. And sometimes we are like the eyes, sometimes, no, not all the time. In business, you are not supposed to be all the eyes all the time. Like the Shakespeare would describe it, that you cannot see yourself except through the means of a reflection. So I'm trying to look at the reflection now as the audience that are consuming the information, because sometimes they do give us signal of what is happening. How should we use feedback and qualitative data from the audience to improve the return on investment of our business storytelling?
Again, I like that. I can geek out as a psychologist. This is my sort of, right? I think that for most of us, you can tell whether someone's engaging in a story or not. If someone's engaging in a story, my friends, they will lean towards you. They listen more. The facial expression, it will change. The eyes open up, almost like they're asking, "What next? What next? What next?" Where someone's not interested, I'm sure you know what that looks like. They go backwards. They might, if they yawn, you're in trouble, right over here. You're in desperate trouble. you're not engaging anyone. If I dare say, if you make them cry, if that's your aim, then you're onto a winner. So we do these rooms, and I do many of these rooms. I do best out of 30 rooms. I said, and people will literally come on stage and break down. Some may think that's a bad thing. For me, it's not always a bad thing, because what I want, what my co-host wants, is someone to feel the pain to feel the need that they have so much that they are willing to solve it there and then. And someone's crying, because they're so the pain is so great. We know we're closer to getting a call to say, "Help me solve this." So literally, I think people's reactions, people's emotional, almost which are physical reactions, they're in front of you. You can see them. See, but you can go the extra mile. There is a branch of psychology, a branch of advertising, a branch of marketing called neuroscience that will measure people's reactions. So on a simple level, I say it like this: if we like a story, we sweat. Our hands get sweaty. Strangely, let's understand that. People react almost physiologically without thinking. People's eyes go in different places when they look. When they're reading a story. If you're interested, my friend, your eyes is like as Hannah just mentioned. You're looking for the next part of the story. So literally, you're trying to scroll down with your eyes before you even scroll. We can measure all these things. Now, some people's heart rate goes up. Do we know this for a fact? Of course we do. Is there a way to measure this? Of course there are. There's tools. EEG, ECG. They're the simple things that you can stick on people's heads and will measure which parts of their brain lights up when you tell a story. There's a science behind the ROI of stories that advertisers use. And my friend Isa just mentioned what the big companies will do. They have many KPIs, and many of them would measure this on focus groups. Big companies will use focus groups before they ever get any ad out there on telly or on radio. They want to know which one's going to work, and they measure scientifically people's responses. It can be done over here, and people do it every day. It's just not us that do it. If you're not going to go down the tools route, then at least learn some of the physical reactions for those who are in front of you. The problem we have is that people are not always in front of us. Crystal, I see your hand up. I'm sure we're going to bring you up. People are not always in front of us. It's a tone of voice. The way people sound, their emotional response. We can measure these things in different ways. If you want to know how, so check out Obehi's books, and Obehi's books will give you techniques to measure. So that all of us here can share ways with you. As we say, talking, is free. Us doing the work for you, my friends. That's our time, our expertise, and that costs money. Over here, I'll give it back to you, my friend.
Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much, Eddie. You're super. I love your take. And of course, I love all your take. Hannah, Izu, you are what make this room enjoyable. Thank you so much for your contribution. They are immeasurable. All right, we have Krista Behe in the room. Did I even pronounce that correctly? Behe.
Anyway. Pronounced bay, like a bay of water, actually.
All right, great. So the conversation is measuring the ROI of your business storytelling. Please share with us. Please be brief.
Actually, I just got my first official public speaking gig because of my storytelling ability. Like Eddie was saying, you can judge by people's emotions and things like that. And the reason that I got it, now this person that agreed to have me in the summit has never heard me speak in an audio room. He doesn't actually go to audio rooms. I actually met him through Facebook and I applied. My application wasn't the best, but he loved my enthusiasm when I spoke to him about what I wanted to speak in the summit about, going from surviving to thriving. Yeah, I kind of snagged that from one of our very dear friends, but that's the whole thing. If you have the right message, your enthusiasm, whether you're a well-versed speaker or just starting out as an author, things like that, you can judge just by people's facial expressions, the emojis, the tone in their voice when they respond back to you. So yeah, Annie's right in every way. There are so many different just little tells. If you're in a Zoom meeting or Facebook meeting, whatever, where you're actually able to look at them, you can judge if people are receiving you by their facial expressions. In an audio room, a lot of times it is by the emojis and things like that. Or like Annie said, people leaving comments. So I just wanted to say that you're spot on and everything that you're saying, because it was my enthusiasm that got me my first official speaking engagement that had nothing to do with LinkedIn, because I was so excited to take part in the project, in the summit. So it also, like, basically your tone when you're giving your stories and everything does matter as well, the delivering. So that was just my little share. Thank you, and Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you so much, dear. Thank you so much for that. That is not small. That is great. It's deep. It's deep. No, it's not on the surface. I love that. All right, Izu, we are about in the end part of it. So I don't know if in the conclusion you want to refer back to what you were saying before, that you have more of the KPI. If you want to touch just one of them and then conclude, please remember to tell people how to find your goals, because we are business people. That is important for us. We don't waste time. So yeah, please conclude with either maybe one of the KPI and then go ahead and let people know how to find your things.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Behi. And fantastic share there, Annie and Hannah. And I think we're doing a great job, and a very big congratulations to the amazing lady that just spoke now. I'm sure that you will get more gigs and have access to speak at different levels, helping people to overcome the shadows of their challenges. God helping you. The other KPI I'd like to share with you is ensure that you understand the legalities around the story you want to share. This is what some part of an area that most people don't understand about storytelling. Storytelling is not as liberal as most of us believe it is. There are certain stories that you need to back up legally. And for the purposes of having to run a business, you need to ensure that you protect and preserve your story legally. This is really important, because when people decide to use your story for their business purposes, if you do not have a legal backup, you are going to lose. You would have nothing to hold on to. So you need to pattern your stories legally. It's very important that you consider that as a KPI. If you're possibly going to be running a business that is based upon something tangible, if you want to find me, feel free to send me a message right here on LinkedIn, or you can also decide to send a message to Mr. Obehi. I'm open for collaborations, but most importantly, if you want to become a professional storyteller, like a professional storyteller with a seal on your name as a professional storyteller, feel free to reach out to me so I could connect you to some of the platforms that can help you to achieve that. And in 2024, I believe that we should have more storytellers who would be able to help businesses to thrive. I believe that we should encourage people to understand the fundamentals and the science of having to use stories and experiences to be a blessing to people's lives and to help businesses to move from 70% to 280%, if that is possible.
Thank you so much, Izu. I appreciate that. All right, so I pass the mic to Hannah. Hannah, what will be your final take here? And please remember to tell the people how to find your gig.
Thank you so much. I want to say thank you to, was it Kirsten or Kristen? Thank you so
Krista.
much for your share. And thank you to everyone.
Crystal, you mean?
Okay, Crystal. Thank you, Crystal, for sharing. And thanks to everyone up here on stage and to the listeners. Thank you for your time. We wouldn't be here speaking to ourselves if you weren't here. So you are valuable. Thank you for your time. I want to add by saying, like, if you are starting out business storytelling, just ensure to have realistic expectations and goals, because there is the tendency to want to see immediate immediate clicks, immediate engagements. I know how a lot of the times we are impatient about, just the progress and how things should go. So please take out time, be patient. Sometimes the benefits are way ahead. And so you are just literally in the sowing stage. So keep putting out your business stories, keep practicing, keep being yourself, keep being authentic. And when you see the benefits, you'll be blown away. And you can reach me here on LinkedIn. I have people tell me I'm here a lot. So yes, I'm here and I'm unashamed of that. You can reach me here on LinkedIn via DM and I'll be sure to respond. But I want to finally say thank you all so much for your time. Thank you to Abehi for such a wonderful event. We hope more people come next time. But cheers, guys.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. All right, to the godfather of the LinkedIn audio room, Mr. Annie. Of course, I don't need to tell you to remind people how to find you. Please go ahead and make your conclusion.
Of course. Thank you so much, everyone. Very, very informative. It's great to work amongst a team of experts. And I say I'm blessed. I find myself in those circles pretty much every time I go on stage. It's one of those great things in my life, truly. Stephen, I see you. I want to acknowledge you. Thank you for spending your time with us. My good friend, Dr. Gwendolyn, is here as well. The lady's written best parts of 15 books and more. One of those who helps our children to get educated. So before we go, do connect with people in the audience, my friends. Make some friends. And Shantae, I see you too, and I welcome all of you. And I think my main takeaway from today, which I guess is something that we most of us know, is that storytelling is not always a long form storytelling. There's many different types of stories. As Izu alluded to this just now. Be very careful when you're telling a story. Sometimes you want to be very you want to be mindful of people's privacy. Be mindful of people's sensitivities. Some stories we think just tell, we can just use. Maybe there's more than words, right? Do I ever say to people, just do it? Probably not. If anyone who knows me here, I'll happily say, let's do this. Because that's not someone's brand. There's a brand that's very similar. Just do it. I'm sure you all know who that is, right? So let's be careful about how we use stories. And I think that's an important point. And Hannah's point that there's many different types of stories. But ultimately, the whole point is about relationships in storytelling. The whole point is, let's understand, don't aim for your story to sell necessarily. Aim for your story to build relationships with the right people. And Obi mentioned right at the beginning, if you're talking to the right person and your story resonates, you're almost halfway towards a sale. But if you're talking to someone and your story doesn't resonate, you can almost discount them from your target audience, from your ideal clients list. This is the storytelling. So, I guess part of the job that we have is about being aware, listening as much as talking. Noticing feedback. The topic for today, right? Noticing people's responses as much as us talking at people. The talking at people doesn't get us anywhere. Whereas if we have genuine conversations, if we can work off their responses, what they're saying, whether they're saying it verbally, physically, verbally, orally, or even physically, literally, we have to be willing to learn from them and then adapt our storytelling accordingly. It's such a beautiful thing, the storytelling world that we live in. And I say I'm blessed to have people who are experts at it in my circle. That's Obehi, that's Hannah, that's Izu for sure. As I say again, Obehi's books are there for a reason. Don't leave this room thinking that sounded like fun, sounds interesting, I don't know what to do now. The simplest thing to do now is reach out to any of us. Check out Obehi's books and go and get the free chapters. I said the word free. Get the free chapters. See if any of the books are to your taste, to your need, not to your way of thinking. Now, that's the only time you're going to consider maybe buying one or more books in a series. Over here does have many books, granted, many. I've seen them on Amazon. I'm like, wow, it's another one. There's another one. There's another one. But he's writing more and more each day as well. So it's a good thing. There is no better storyteller on social media than Hannah that I've seen. So, look, connect with people, take action. Let's change the world for us in 2024. That's what I'll say for sure. Now, for me, my expertise is writing and selling books. I don't write books. People write the book. I have a business partner who writes the books for my clients. I love to sell the books. I love to sell books. I love to create, I love to make you really famous. That's my story. That's my motto. That's my tagline for a reason. If I can help you at all, my friends, then do get in touch. I'd love to help you to get to the next level in business. Obehi, you're the star of the show, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Eni. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Of course, without you, we would not be here. I really do appreciate you. Of course, I appreciate you, Hannah. And Izu, you make the room really flowering and beautiful. And of course, we are here for this reason. We are here for this. We are intentionally here. And I want to thank all of you also in the audience who have graced this occasion. It is because of you that we are here. And of course, we are going to be here again in 14 days from now, because we are here every 14 days talking about storytelling. And yes, what we talk about today is particularly important in that when you are in business storytelling, you need to know why you are doing it. And you need to be able to measure at the end of the day if the target that you set for yourself, you are hitting it or not. Because sometimes you might not hit it. So you need to go back again to your drawing board and reset some of the KPI that you already have. Of course, time didn't permit Izu have more of that to have shared with you. But of course, if you are interested in storytelling, you can get any of the copy of this book. I have 5 of them. You just start with the free chapter. No, nothing can be freer than free. So get the free chapter and read. If you find it interesting, then you can get more. Of course, we do also have training classes that are available for storytelling. And apart from that, all the rooms that we have done on storytelling, all these are just free for you. They're available on our YouTube channel, including this one. This also is going to be available, which is to say that there is a lot of information for you, because our intention is to make sure that if you are in business, you need to learn how to leverage the power of storytelling. This is why we are creating this content, bringing in these amazing people to share with you how they are using storytelling. As you can see, it's not that we are really selling something to you. We are just sharing something with you. This is our engagement, to be able to share with you what we know, so that it can help you to improve in your business. And of course, if you like what we are doing, why not? Supporting us is not bad. You can contact any of us and do business with us. We are business people, so it will make us happy that you also do business with us if you like what we are doing. But if you want to consume the free information, it is right for you. You are not paid anything for that. But pay attention. Make sure you have a clear objective when we are talking about business storytelling. Make sure you clarify your KPI. Use analytics tool that might help you to be able to know whether you are hitting your target or not. And like I was saying before, sometimes you might not hit the target. There is no need to cry. Just go back to the drawing board and make sure you reset the things again until you get the result that you want. Because in business storytelling, which is different from other type of storytelling, there is a clear plan of what you want. If you are not getting it, then go back and redraw it again. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for this conversation. It has been really, really beautiful. I enjoy it. So see you next time, 40 days from now.